from everyone. Apologies for absence, none. Have you heard from the other councillors? No. Right, can we confirm? Sorry?
Are they not coming?
I don't know, I'm told. Can you confirm the minutes of the last parish council meeting? Correct record?
Yeah, I can.
Yes, thank you. Okay, the next item is the public forum. Now, as always, I will stress again that members of the public are allowed to speak only in this section of the meeting, and councillors by regulation are not permitted to discuss or make decisions on anything you say to us. So all we can do is listen, take whatever it is away and consider whether we put it on the agenda or whatever. So who would like to start? Is nobody here for any particular reason?
I am, but I'll just letting everybody else have a go. Nobody else? No?
No.
Okay, so according to your agenda, on the agenda there is a mention of cutting the grass. The grass cutting in the village.
On the riverbank?
Yeah, so I want to mention that I will volunteer to do that free of charge. 8 times a year. Not the toilets, cutting the grass. I've purchased equipment that can do all that. I have also got indemnity insurance and public liability insurance. And I've got equipment, and I have got PPE and the appropriate apparel to wear when that is conducted. And by the same token, I also will take over the pinfold. As in adopt the pinfold, not as in take it over, but adopt the pinfold and pay the costs and ongoing maintenance.
Okay, noted, thank you. Anybody else got anything to say?
No, thank you, that's very generous. Would you be able to sort of put that in writing to us? Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Because it is a discussion that's happening later in the meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be good if you could give us all the points that we'll need, and that's a very generous offer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now moving on, matters arising from the minutes. I'd like it recorded yet again that when councillors, according to the Localism Act 2011, when councillors are not engaged on council business, they are just residents like everyone else. So the accusations levelled against the council and the chair in the minutes last time, I can state that there were no correspondence or emails to any other authorities, either from the parish council or the chair, against Mr Morgan's business.
That's contradictory to what Highways are saying.
You are not permitted to speak at the rest of the council meeting. In a personal capacity, as I am not engaged in council business when I'm in my back garden, my husband and I did seek the assistance of the county council when an illegal cut down of a 30-year-old horse chestnut tree behind my property. And we did again seek assistance when the brush from that tree was set fire at my rear drive, and the police were banging on my door late one night with a nuisance order. Other than that, I'm not, nothing else that was all in a personal capacity. There was also accusations made that the councillors had re-elected themselves under COVID regulations. Clark, you were going to explore with our legal department. Could you update us on that, please?
Yeah, they just said, as we believe, that was incorrect, and then obviously the 2 other councillors stepped down, so there was 2 spaces became available in any case to force an election.
So there was no parish council election, or there shouldn't have even been one during COVID?
No, it's 2023, the next election.
Thank you.
What month would that be? Do you know?
May.
May. Thank you.
In view of the what I can only call a vendetta against the parish council and personally against me in particular, could I ask that you would also go back to our legal association just to engage with them as to what is the legal position with regard libel and defamation? Because I would like to clarify what the grounds are for that, please. Anybody else got any matters arising from the minutes?
No.
No.
Planning applications, now some of these we might have missed. Exhibi services, is that finished? It's been researched.
My understanding is, well, unless there was a further planning application, what
I think it was.
was it? For
It
the
was
cafe?
from the last- it
Was
was-
the cafe at the back?
Well, it was big. It was that there was like electric, the lorries,
Oh,
electric
EV
yeah.
charging and
and driver facilities and all sorts of things. It was
Yes.
quite a big application, but it was the month before because we didn't meet last month.
well, we haven't had any objections or we haven't had any
I can't
correspondence
see
or
why we would have.
No.
Land to the rear of High Street, 17 Garbett Lane. This was just an amendment to an existing application, which was only a minor domestic change, so I didn't see any point in making a comment. Does anybody else want to?
No, the planning
No.
officer's best position to deal with that.
Right. And Throston House. Again, I think that's an amendment to an existing application.
No, isn't that,
Oh,
that's
that was last time.
Yeah,
It's the
it's the
chalet,
chalets, yeah.
tourist accommodation.
Apparently it's in keeping with their,
It meets the
policy,
the national park
yeah, so
policy to have just
there's-
it's a
you can't have
camping
any
sort
argument
of
with that,
thing.
can you?
Yeah, so make no comment to that one either?
No.
Okay, thank you. Clerks and correspondence report, Angela.
Yeah, there was a resignations received from 2 councillors. The election process commenced. The election is due on the 9th of December. We've had an email from Amanda Madden from Hambleton County Council, District Council should I say, requesting to meet regarding affordable housing. So
Yes, do we want to meet with her? She was offering to do a sort of housing needs survey and consider whether we need any more affordable housing.
When
Yeah,
was
I
that?
think you can't really argue that, can you?
No, when was the last
She's
time
always a need for it.
we've done that survey in the past,
Yeah.
haven't we?
Yeah,
Was it 2 years ago?
probably, yeah.
Well, we should.
Yeah, cooperate.
So we
We should,
invite her
yeah.
to come and
Yeah.
presumably she'll want to come to a parish council
That's
meeting.
fine.
won't she?
She didn't state so.
Well, we invite her then.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, I understand with the market.
Yeah, we had the notice of the Police, Fire and Crime Commission election. We had a request for a copy of the accounts, and there was a consultation regarding the Rydel plan.
Yes, it was the site survey, wasn't it? But why are they involving us? I'm so far removed from them, I don't
Bit
really
random,
see, so
yeah.
we don't want to comment on that?
No.
No.
Thank you. I've had just an email yesterday, so it's not on the agenda, we can put it on for next time, but it was from, not the project manager, but somebody else from the North Yorkshire County to do with Brayley Homes, offering to invest in some community activity, either financially or practically, and they just wanted to know if ourselves or the village hall had any ideas. So, and she asked, until I talk to her again, I don't know
We
whether
need to
she's
know
talking about.
budgets
I know,
and-
is it thousands or is it a few hundred? So,
But yeah,
so
absolutely.
if your agreement that I can go and
Oh,
find
don't
out,
turn
and
it
then
down now, yeah.
so I'll go and talk to her and then
Yeah.
come back next, put it on the agenda for the next meeting where we can put forward a project. Okay.
They'll want something for it, but I'm sure.
Well, we haven't had the legal agreement yet for all of
Just
it.
currying favour around.
Well, we need to get everything signed off with the car park and the electric charges and everything before we get anything else. Some more. That was all. I'd had another one just to warn us, or not warn, advise us that the Walton Run next year, just so it doesn't clash with anything, is going to be on the 22nd of June. Oh, and a carryover from last time because the meeting was cancelled. The 20's plenty.
Speed
Oh yeah, I suppose that,
restriction.
yeah.
Well, the idea was that we would submit something, is it to the MP, just or the county? Can you have a look at it is? But they were asking every parish council to consider
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
they should make a, sort of a petition, in other words. So we'll,
And that's in the current 30 limits, is that of the
yes,
village?
make it 20's 20. So they're just trying to push the county council to let communities decide on the highway speed, but
Wants to
it's
be
only
20,
a
doesn't
petition
it?
at this.
Down the village,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, well, if we need to, we don't need to agree on that, do we? Are we all in agreement?
We've all agreed.
Yeah.
I'll look into what I need to do with that.
Yeah.
then and
It
send
was
some
just
response.
writing a letter, I think.
Yeah, support.
Playing fields update. The broken swing has now been fixed, and they did approach us if we would consider joining bank accounts, because their bank was going to close their account because there wasn't enough activity in it or something. But Simon was chasing it up. Have you heard back from him?
Haven't heard anything back from them. It was regarding the charges, wasn't it? 'Cause
Yeah, I
they
was
did
thinking
start
why
charging
charging
£8 a
wouldn't
month
it?
for an account.
Was that it? So.
It's a business account, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were happy if they combined accounts with us, because you told to do lots of work anyway, don't you?
Yeah,
Would that be
it
okay?
wouldn't make any difference to me.
And
if
there's
it
no,
was
there's no
clear.
conflicts, no.
We just have a separate spreadsheet for the playing field. So if when Simon comes back to us, then if he wants to, just aware we're not going to meet till January.
Is that a charity, charitable trust, is it, playing fields?
I
Isn't it?
think
So I said we needed to look into exact,
It is.
Well,
Yeah,
charitable
Separate
status.
Yeah,
it's a
so-
charity, yeah,
which
registered.
would mean we could hold it for.
Well, I think the banks give different treatment.
Do I think?
Or,
No, they do.
Well,
But they're just, yeah, it's just, I'm just making sure we're not in
Realistically,
conflict or,
with them being a charitable trust, they should be able to get a free bank account still, whereas
Right.
we can't.
no?
On
Yeah.
some occasions, our bank hasn't started imposing a
But-
charge, but I know
Yeah,
others have, and one of the criteria was being a charitable trust,
Yeah.
which parish councils.
I think Simon needs to look into
Look into it.
alternative bankers if needs be.
Yeah, there is a number that are still available.
But if there's no conflict in,
I have actually got a list, so I will send it to him.
so they're not
Actually,
west as
better.
well? Is it
Right.
not west?
No, they're HSBC at a guess. If
Yeah. All right.
that's the other bank account I'm dealing with that has the issue with the £8 a month charge.
but yeah, there are, I think there are, as long as but if we don't have a conflict, then why wouldn't we keep it in-house and keep
Yeah, it does
an
make sense.
understanding of it? And it's,
It saves the transfers in and out. And
we pay you to, with all due respect, to manage the account to a certain extent.
yeah.
Better value for us and the village, isn't it? So yeah, don't want to give to the bank.
Thank you. Police report. No incidents to report this time, I think. County and district councillors are not here. Community fibre partnership project. I was hoping Paul could come and update us on that, but he's on holiday. How it stands at the minute, we've got 193 households assessed for the to get the fibre optic, and the cost for that would be 287,000 more or less. But Paul has since talked to BT, and on top of that, that is equivalent to £1,400 per house, which is as much more than the voucher if everybody signed up. But on top of that, when they sign up, they also have to update their service provider to the next speed, which means I think that a lot more households are not going to sign up.
Can I, Dolly, I know we need to conform with procedures. Sir, you know quite a lot about this already, don't you?
Yes.
Can I ask you to
So,
give us a technical...
I've been helping Paul with liaising with OpenReach, and OpenReach have provided that list. I think that list is quite old now, is that right? When was the last update on it?
No, it wasn't that long ago. 4 months maybe.
Yeah. So I was given the same list by them, and what I've done is I've basically walked the whole village to verify their list. There are about 40 properties out. So there's 40 properties that need to be added to the list and
Where were they?
resubmitted to them.
Because where were they? We went back to them to ask to include the Scottdale. 'Cause that
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
on it.
I've been up to
So where
Scottdale, Walthwaite.
Walton was on, where were the 40 properties?
Yes, well, all the way up there, there were the close here, the properties at the back here that were missing off the list. So, quite a number.
Right.
So, and I think that will hold in our favour because it'll mean that obviously
Cost
the,
more
the
revenue.
cost per household will reduce.
It will if the households sign up, but
Mm.
we've only got less than 50 households have come forward saying they want it.
Well, that will be the next part, knocking on doors.
You can
What's
just
the
say-
threshold? Is it
yeah.
100% threshold?
If it's 100%, then it won't cost us anything. But for every one that drops out, it's going to cost us.
And it
That
has to be, is the
£1,500.
criteria 100%?
No, it's just the bill
The
is going to
ratio.
be 250,000. Give or take.
So if nobody
206
signed-
no, 200. What did I say? 280,000. 287,000. So 290,000.
If
for-
nobody signed up, it'd be 297,000.
Yes.
And then,
Now, if every single
Swing hands,
household claimed their voucher, that's £1,500.
yeah.
That would, it's equivalent to, I haven't got the equivalent figure.
Well,
Which a house.
It was almost exactly
It was
the same,
almost
wasn't it?
exactly,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
1,490 or something. There are business vouchers for 3,000, so that would reduce it a bit.
I think once I submit the list and the details I've given them, because I've got a map marking out exactly the areas that I've checked, then I'll have a conversation with them to see what level of subscriptions we're going to need to pass this through.
Well, if it's no cost to us, it's going to be 100%. For every one that won't sign, that's £1,500 more.
I
on
don't
the bill for
think they
everybody else.
anticipate 100% take up from the village
Well, what worries
because
me is
you
that
have such mixed occupancy
yeah,
here.
but there would, the demographics not
Exactly.
going to tick it, is
The
it?
demographics will give it. I reckon
80? High?
I was thinking about 60%, 60 to 70% take up. But
Have
that's
you
where
done the
that's where the
figures then,
canvassing.
if you do the
Okay.
figures, how much would that cost for the if 20% don't join, 20% 1,500?
Well,
How much more is
That's
that?
30,000, that's
50.
30,000 quid.
Yeah, 50,
Between.
about 300 quid, isn't it?
It depends. It depends if the overall cost they're giving you is just to bring broadband to the village, and then that's dispersed over the properties that they have right now. So it'll be a little bit different when we add properties on top. So if it's going to be the same figure to bring it to the village, and we've
No,
got an
it was
additional
to the
30
properties.
properties, yeah.
And it
then-
was, they'd
then
chosen
the
those
per-
addresses because it was using existing infrastructure.
So when you
Yes,
go,
that's
go,
why
when you
we
go
were
up
worried
from
about
300,000 to, if you include the extra 40 properties,
Yeah.
will it then increase anyway, so.
I don't think it'll increase that much.
It depends if it's using the existing infrastructure or.
It depends where the properties were, because if they're up Scottdale or up Walton, where there's
No,
no...
they'd
yeah.
done Walton, they'd done Scottdale, and
Okay,
they did up the outback.
So it's more infill rather than.
It sounds like it, that's what you're saying.
Do we need to be...
Well, I'll have that chat with the project manager and see what they're suggesting in terms of bringing it into the village.
And presumably, what sort of timescales do we need to be thinking about if we need to canvass and, get people to tick it? Are we...
Well, that list needs to be submitted. I've given it to Paul just to check. So we'll get that submitted and then we'll get an answer back from them. And then after that we can start canvassing to people
We're
to sign
all right
up.
for time though, aren't we?
We're okay for time,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it'll be January before we start doing anything.
Would the properties who've not signed up, would they be allowed in the future to use the
But you won't get
the
the
service?
voucher. They would, but
Oh,
you
sure
won't
they
get the
will.
voucher.
So
But they're
yeah,
not
so
going to
they're not
turn
being-
business away.
they're not going to be penalised in the future, because if they were not signing up now when they went to sell the properties and they hadn't signed
Yeah.
up, then they were penalised. They couldn't use it in the future.
No, I
that
don't
might
think
dissuade them
I
to
don't
do
think
it
they
now.
will refuse.
No.
No.
That's unfortunate, because it might encourage them a bit more to do the decent thing.
Are we...
Where
I know
BT
this is a national... This is the...
It is, and
The-
the worrying thing is that where BT have done it before, they said they never get more than 40% signing up.
Right, okay. So that was my
Which is
question.
worrying.
Is there a... right. But this is different, isn't it? It hasn't been.
This is different because
This is
we're looking at much faster speeds. Where a B2
Yeah.
rolled out previously, you didn't know what speed you were
Yeah,
getting.
well,
All you were getting is a broadband connection,
Yeah.
so speed varied depending
I
on.
think
the
I'd
only-
pay £700 or £800, which would be the figure, wouldn't it, if it was 40%?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere on that.
Like I said, I need to talk to the
Hypothetical.
project manager to get the finer details.
Thank you.
Anyway.
So you're going to work with Paul and we'll
Yeah.
have
When you
Chase
say
to come
Paul,
back.
is it?
Paul from Plainfield Committee, Paul
Oh, Paul,
Wilson.
yeah.
Yeah, he's leading on it. Next item is proposal to investigate purchasing of recording equipment. If the meetings are to be recorded, I think it's important that the parish council is control of that and we put it on the parish council's website so that it's not put anywhere that it's not
Yeah, it's
edited.
not
and it's
edited, yeah. That's the
I am
only-
recording this one tonight
No, we're not.
for the purpose,
It's gone off.
well, I've recorded part of it for the purpose of seeing whether we could see if residents have an appetite to even look at it. Is it something they want, they're interested in?
Well, ours got about 200 odd hits, didn't it?
385.
Was it 385 hits?
So do we want to investigate what recording equipment might be available? Village Hall would be happy to have it installed here. We need something more professional that would be wide ranging. It's the sort of thing, you know, the White Rose update, we often get councils asking what other councils do.
Yeah,
We could ask the question to come back to us for the next meeting. The pinfold, now that the trees are down, we can probably go ahead with that, except that if it's possibly one of the projects we might want to put forward if the Braley Homes comes forward. So shall we just defer that until the next meeting?
Yeah, let's speak to.
Because we're not going to do it before January now, are we, anyway?
Didn't Mr. Morgan mention that?
Well, that's a
to be
consideration.
put
Yeah.
in writing for another time. Financial matters then, Angela, please.
So we've had the toilet donations put in from the last meeting at £118. We had a toilet grant for half of the costs of the toilet last year, that was 860.
Did we get that from the National Park? So we're going to send it to the
I don't
Plainfield.
know.
Oh, so
They had it right this year.
Oh, we got it
After
right,
a
good.
couple of years of having it wrong. We had some money transferred from the Plainfield Association for me to pay some bills with, which I did. We had the other half of our precept of 5,462 paid in at the beginning of September. Money already paid out from last month that we needed to pay was the Rentokil initial for the toilet maintenance contract we have with them. There's the payment for the Plainfield Association, and there's PFK Little John
I've got it on
for
video.
the
She
audit
said
that
she
we
didn't
needed to do for the accounts. And then we need to approve this evening for Jim Beagle for £43 and 10 pence.
34.
34 pounds and 10 pence. 34 10?
Yeah.
34 on
Yeah.
the agenda. If you
Yeah,
34
the
34
seats
ten.
are there, it was 34, yeah.
And £5 printing for yourself, and Chuhan and Singh £36. And then there's the annual payments that we make to agree. Last year's payments were to the Citizens Advice Bureau, who actually wrote to me and told me that we'd had 17 residents had used their facilities.
Yeah, they always give us an update.
Oh.
Yeah. So that,
And how much did we
We
pay
gave them
then?
£50 last year.
So we all agreed that we
Yeah.
should have that grant again.
Do it again, yeah.
Absolutely. Same reason why.
the church, 475.
That's for upkeep of the churchyard. We agree we
Yeah.
pay
Yes.
that again.
The village hall, 550.
Yep.
Agreed, yes, thank you.
And to Jem, 1,250 for grass cutting and 1,250 for the toilets.
Yeah.
Yes, we upped that after the COVID closure. The Globe, we haven't
We didn't pay
Dunno.
the Globe anything last year, actually, that's why. I think it was closed.
I thought we
at the
agreed,
time.
was it, was it, yes, it
Yeah.
was £250 when
That's
we
the libraries.
agreed.
That's,
The library, yeah,
Yeah.
it was 200,
Hi Dave.
it was £250
No, no, it should
Yeah, it was.
when we first agreed it, so
Yeah.
do we just keep it at that figure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed
Yeah,
that.
it didn't current plan.
And that's it for that, and then it's just on to the precept.
Oh, sorry, there's one more item, not down there, but we haven't got the invoice for the tree works, which, given that we don't meet again till January, I think we'll have to agree to pay that. The invoice was going to be, or when we get it, 2,820 plus 20, I forget what it's for, you'll have it
the
on.
work's all done.
The tender, this end is done.
And have
That's-
they part invoiced us or?
We haven't had an invoice yet, but
Right.
we ought to agree
Well, we can
to
do
give
that.
Angela agreement to
Yeah.
pay it, because we can't leave it till
Once-
January.
Well, we'll agree to pay it once it's been completed satisfactorily.
Well, that's
Well, the work's been
Oh, I
completed.
thought you said it was partially completed. I thought there was.
No, the invoice, they've tendered to do this bottom end.
Yes. Oh, they've
They
right.
won the tender, and that was the figure they gave us to do it, so we ought to agree to pay that as soon as the
Yeah.
invoice comes, or to for Angela to pay it, because we can't make them wait till January.
Is,
the-
is everyone happy with it in terms of?
I think so,
I
yes.
mean, I'm not a tree specialist, but it looks very neat and tidy.
Yeah, no, they've done a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone happy.
You did
No.
a survey, didn't you, last Saturday?
So,
Didn't you go around the trees?
oh, we met
Yeah.
with them. Oh, that was for the next
For
one.
the next
If you
one.
remember with the
Yeah.
tender, we agreed that if we were happy with the work, we would extend it to the second part, but with no price for that, they'd have to give us a price, so we can discuss that at the
Right,
next
yeah,
meeting.
Well, I agree then.
So we'll submit, ask them
It's
to
a
submit
small
a
business.
tender for next, that
Can't
part for
wait
the next
2
one.
months. Can we?
No, we can't, we have to agree it, so when we get the invoice, you'll pay that. Okay, thank you, is that everything financial? It is. So now is to agree the precept for next year. Given that we have a lot of resources because of the
Surplus.
COVID grants, then I propose that we just keep it as it is without an increase.
That would have been
Yeah,
my
yeah.
recommendation, even given inflation and
Yeah.
people that, you know.
Oh,
Bit
that's easy,
difficult.
okay, good, so we'll agree that.
I didn't expect that.
No.
The different next year.
After last year.
Oh, well,
Inflation.
we have an opinion.
Right, just before we sign off for the next meeting, the defibrillator, you've been doing the checks
Yeah.
monthly. Is the end date, the sell-by date for the pads was November when I was
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
are they the same ones,
I
are
think
they
it'll
running
be-
out this month?
Yeah, 'cause I thought it was a new outfit, but
No, they last a year or two.
Yeah, I know, but I thought when I'd come back, it seemed to be different. Just my imagination. I'll have to double check.
They actually only have a lifespan of a year.
12 months.
Yeah. Yeah,
12 months.
yeah.
The sell-by date's on the pad, so
Yeah.
it's definitely November, so
Right.
we need to investigate.
What's checking?
No, you haven't, we need to
No.
investigate.
Just,
They normally come and tell us, yeah. Do you think they've not changed?
Is
Yeah,
it
I
you
thought
have to
they
use
changed
it?
it.
You think they changed? Oh, we'll maybe have
I'll
to
double
change that.
yeah.
We need to get
It's
you
no
some
good
training.
thinking, is it? It's like
Well,
someone's life.
I'm
is
sure
it?
you
You know, if you ever need
Might
it.
work.
Yeah, but the sell-by date's on it, so we know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
The
we'll
battery
just,
backup on them,
investigate
I've
where
used
they,
them.
when they were updated last time, they just came to us, but we'll chase them and see. So if you could do that for
yeah.
us.
You check.
David, do you want us to come back? Do you have anything?
I take it Ben hasn't been here tonight.
No.
No. Well, first of all, making a difference. I don't know if you've discussed that tonight. Making a difference. Okay, grants are still open. If you've got any projects that you want to take forward, you just never know what. There's 50 grand for each market town area, so could be the year to have a go at it. It could be last year Hambledon Dooley's, I think. I'm not sure the deadline, but it'll be coming up fairly soon.
I think it's 57 buildings.
Yeah, it'll be something. Yeah. I had an interesting email yesterday from down here.
Oh,
I
we
think
discussed that.
you've covered
about
that one, have you?
community offering to fund.
Yeah, but they did think I was the
financial
county
impact.
councillor, so I did have to put them right. But I did say, I hope you keep me involved. But have you identified some projects?
Well, no, what we've agreed, because she just wanted to come and talk to me or contact me about, we don't know whether she's talking about 20 grand or 200 quid, so
Yeah.
we've agreed that I will talk with her and find out and bring back to the next agenda and see what, I mean there's loads of projects we've got on that we could put on,
Yeah.
and the village hall as well, she'd suggested they might have some, so we could talk to them and see if they've got some.
Right. I think the other thing I was asked yesterday or the day before by the PR people at Hamilton who owned the castle, because they wanted to do some filming there for some promotional videos. So it's good that Swainby's going to be promoted in a tourism, a bit on tourism, which is good. Moving on to the unitary, it's now been sort of accepted by government, the awarding proposals that are put forward by the county council. So we're going to end up with, in a new council, there's going to be 90 councillors in 89 wards, and there will be an election next May.
How does that translate to the number of councils there are now in districts and
Well, it's probably reduced by, I haven't actually done the sums, but it'll reduce by at least half.
as much as that?
Yeah, you'd be a good number, yeah. I'll have to work that one out. But,
So there'll be bigger wards then?
Well, they're going to go. They're using the district wards, and so this ward, Osmotherley and Swainby, will be coupled with Hutton Rugby, which takes in Seymour, Newby, Cambridge, and so I think that's a good fit, really. Having and it keeps whoever represents this ward keeps the market town out, because that's where clearly that's what the distraction is. If you're a ward member, you've got a market town, you always end up being there because the
shout louder.
The high maintenance, basically. So it's good. I just think it's a perfect fit. All these sort of relatively small villages together. So that's about yeah. And then there's I think I mentioned before about the work streams. As we sort of move into unitary, we've got, I think there's 19 different work streams with officers from the districts and the county working together, which will sort of get sort of the policies going forward. I think another big one, because the county council is going to be the transferring authority, all the staff will be don't have to be tupied over. They can just be transferred over on the same terms and conditions, and I'm told because of the number involved it'll save £2 million of the public purse, so that's a good start really for unitary. And then obviously the district council staff will have to be treated over, which will be quite a major operation. So that's it. If there's anybody got any questions, happy to take questions.
David, that was it? You say making a difference grant?
Yeah.
Do we have a deadline for that when it's submission?
Yeah, it's the
9th. Sorry, what date
No,
is
I think it's the 5th.
the 5th.
Our thing's on the 9th. It's early December.
Right. Are we?
I can send you it again. But we haven't agreed anything yet.
No,
We haven't,
we
no,
need to have
because-
discussed it, but
Yeah, we got one last year for the toilets.
We discussed it at the last meeting. And
We
decided
did, and yeah,
it wasn't.
we weren't ready to
no,
put
okay.
anything in.
Because it is.
The toilets, they wouldn't accept the toilets.
Well,
No, we've done that last
That's
time.
what I'm saying. I know you did, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't,
Doesn't make a
if
difference.
you had any more work to do, they wouldn't accept.
No.
No, that
Yeah.
was. I was just saying we've already had some grants, so.
But if we don't ask them, we can't access it, and it doesn't impact on the following year, does it? These are all independent pockets of money, aren't they?
Yeah, but it would need to be spent, well, I was told today, because I've been to the JPC Community Farm today, having a look around, and we had somebody from Hambleton there, and they were asking about making a difference, and this person from Hambleton were telling me it has to be spent by March, which, well, that's what they told me anyway, so we'll have to,
Is it too
it's going to
late to look at any other sort of community infrastructure investment?
And there's the recording equipment, there's whatever.
Well, the
Oh,
recording,
no, we've got that on the agenda tonight, so we could.
of course we could.
It's the amount that makes it.
Yeah, we haven't done any research,
Yes.
so you're not going to get that done in a week.
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'll see what I can
Positive.
do, I mean,
Yeah.
we could try.
Oh, we can.
Can do, ask you.
We can do.
Right, well,
Again, I'll have a look.
Okay, we'll
and
explore and
yeah.
see what's.
I will email you what there's.
if it's,
but just check with the communities team that it's whatever you're wanting is
it's
eligible.
eligible, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's everything on the agenda. The next meeting will be the 19th of January. Has anyone got anything for the agenda that's not going to be carried forward? Anything new?
There's still some seats left, benches to be painted. isn't there?
Oh, well, I've
So
had the
you
paint
took-
back,
you two
so
took them
yes,
and-
you took
Yeah.
the paint. Have you not done it yet?
Well, I've done mine, the one
Oh, well, they're all
Okay.
done then, I
no,
think.
there's one on Back Lane, I think.
Well, while we've got the pen.
Yeah. I just thought I was some fancy.
Well, yes, Alistair, you were going to do the castle, but that's done as well. So
So,
one of the
Back Lane's
volunteers,
calling for
one of
you.
the volunteers did that. So if that's the last one, could you take that on? Don't think.
I'll drop it off tomorrow.
Thank you. I haven't any more paint, so how much
No.
is left? Is there enough? You need about 3/4 of a tin.
You're retired.
You want a change of your scenery for a change? Yeah. Get up.
No, I don't, thank you, no, I can't. We'll agree to sort it out, though. Someone will have to do it.
All right, thank you. Right, thank you then. So that's meeting finished.
Right, thank you. Where's
Well,
Bryn
we've got
tonight,
checks to
David?
sign.
Wait, what, sorry?
Where's Bryn tonight?